That's questionable. How did you get them? And then are they real? Because they probably are not.
Once upon a time, not long ago, a nice
Hi, this is Indian with Bags and Lifestyle. If this is your first time watching my video, thank you so much for giving my channel a try. Usually my topics will cover anything from handbags, usually with a pre-owned twist to it, but I also talk about new items, unboxings, and product reviews. And the lifestyle part of it is just really anything else under the sun, chatty opinion topics, fashion-related topics, or whatever has nothing to do with fashion that I feel is interesting and want to also share with you. So if anything that I have said sounds interesting, even a little bit interesting, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Also, I would love it if you can hit the thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated so I can grow my little bitty YouTube channel community over here. So we'll go ahead and get started with today's topic. And also, thank you so much to my new subscribers. I had a few subscribers that have joined. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic, which will be over. I already forgot it. Listing red flags. So, if you shop the pre-owned market, which, like I said, if this is your first time, I talk a lot about pre-owned. So, definitely check out my other videos. But I wanted to do a video talking specifically about red flags that you should look for in listings. Because there's a lot of people that are interested in pre-owned and are scared to get scammed. And I understand that it kind of, you know, you have to be willing to take that risk. But there are some things that you can do to at least decrease, let me say that, to decrease the chances of you getting scammed. But it still can happen. I won't say that it completely just will never happen. But if you are a person who shops on Poshmark, eBay, Mekari, Facebook Market, that's what it's called, or anywhere like, I wanted to talk about listings and what you should be paying attention to. And if you're seeing any of these red flags, they are red flags. They're red flags for a reason. Take your money and run. I was going to say take your puppies, but take your money and run. All right, so let's get into it. You might see me look over here because I have my notes on my laptop. I didn't write it down this time, so we got to keep myself on track and honest with what I got written down. All right, so let's get into it. This is going to be... All right, so first up is going to be questionable details, and I have a few tick marks I want to talk about more with questionable details. So if you see anything that says in the description, so this is going to be key. Just like you sign contracts, open accounts, anything like that where you got to sign your name and people tell you to read, the devil is in the details. Pay attention to photos, zoom them in, look at everything because that's part of the description. Also, read over the details. Read over the details. And if there's a gap somewhere, ask. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into it. So like I mentioned, with the questionable details, if something says made from authentic materials, that is a red flag. They're telling you that basically that's not the original item that fashion house created. They gathered some things from somewhere else. Hopefully, they're real things from somewhere else, and we made something with it. Move on. When you see those words, move on to something else. I do not care how long you've been looking for it or how good of a price it is. Take your coins and run. Look at another listing. Another thing that you may see as far as what I consider questionable details will be when it says unauthorized authentic. That means it's fake. I don't even know what other way to put that. It's fake. Move on. Unauthorized, authentic. That's not a real term. That's people try to put in authentic to try to rope you in, but there is no way to get around it. It's not real. Move on. Don't buy it. Next is going to be when it says overstocked, defective, etc. Now, you could have items that are damaged, but some of that is very questionable. Especially, I see that in the listings when people are basically selling fake items and they have multiples of those fake items and they're saying it's new with tags. So, for example, like the Gucci Marmont bag. And the reason I bring that one up is because I saw a lot of those on Poshmark a few months ago. But you'll see multiple listings of those, or not even multiple listings in this case. You'll see like a seller that has this bag. It's brand new with tags. It currently is selling in the stores. How in the world do you have 4 of these, okay, that for these brand new with retail tags and all of the goodies that's supposed to come along with it, Gucci's still selling it in the store and you have it for half or less than half. And people will use that type of wording to get you to think, oh, you know, they got an in with a friend that works at Gucci, or some kind of way it fell off a truck, which means it was stolen. So I don't know whether how you feel about that, but really, when you see that, move on. Move on. All right, next up is going to be when people will write in the descriptions. You'll see they'll say you can authenticate it in the store, or if you ask, that person will answer your question with you can also authenticate it in the store. So I've been buying higher end and contemporary items for a while. It's not like I bought from every fashion house or anything like that, but that is a complete red flag. You cannot, I don't even know of any fashion house where you can walk in and say, can you authenticate this for me? Now, there is a way to have it authenticated, but that's not how you get it done. They don't have an authentication service where you bring an item and say, I bought this from so-and-so, and can you authenticate it so I can make sure it's real? They don't do that. Pay for an authentication service first off, okay? I will also put my video up where I actually talk about more details on what you should do as soon as you buy a pre-owned item. That would be a good one to look at as well after you look at this one. But anyway, yeah, no. So there are ways. The way that I'm talking about is you can have an item repaired, and if they don't send you your item, if they don't say, look, we can't do anything with this, you know, then you can take it as authentic. I have had an item that actually I purchased from Poshmark. It got authenticated through Poshmark Authenticate. Something went wrong with the handle. Took it into Ferragamo. They fixed it and brought it back to me. They fixed my item, which is basically them unofficially authenticating it. So that is a way you can have an item authenticated, is if it needs a repair service. You can send it in and they'll look it over, or you just pay for an authentication service. But all right, before I go down a rabbit hole with that, yeah. So if they say verify in store, move on. That's not true. All right, and if you have anyone, because it's not like I know everything, but I do have years of experience. I have not been exposed to that. However, if you know of a fashion house that it does authentication in store by you walking in and saying, can you authenticate this? Please let me know in the comments down below. That way I can stand corrected, but as far as I know, All right, next up is going to be unwillingness to answer questions. So this is a two-part one here. First of all, that's just terrible customer service. And if someone's not willing to answer your questions in order to make that sale, they don't need your money, first off. But secondly, a lot of times shady people that are selling fake items, and you have a person who just really wants this item and wants it to be authentic, will ask questions, and they'll either be vague with the details or avoid you, not answer you for several days, and you'll have to keep asking. Move on. I had what was it? It was a mulberry Bayswater actually some years ago that I wanted to buy. I saw photos, but I didn't see all the photos I needed. So I asked the seller for more photos, and I asked them, I can't even remember what parts I was looking for, but there were like two key things that I was looking for so I could at least visually inspect it, see if it looks authentic or if I see any red flags, as well as I wanted to know about the condition. And the person didn't want to load those photos, so I moved on. And the funny thing is I checked back on it a few weeks later. I not unsubscribed, but I stopped watching because the seller, you can see when your watch numbers go down. And then I noticed maybe a week later that person decided to load those photos. Well, I moved on now. If I gotta force you to sell me your item, no thank you. You don't need my money. All right, so next up is going to be multiple stock photos. This is a huge red flag. I know there are some people who will use a stock photo because it's a professional photo, so it looks very appealing. It's beautiful lighting. I totally understand it. But when you have a listing that half of your photos, of the photos are stock photos, that is a red flag. So, and I don't want to say it is a red flag. Now, most of the time people are being shady. Sometimes you have people that just don't know any better and feel like the stock photos are there. So if you ask for more photos of the actual item and they don't answer you, move on. I wouldn't even waste my time asking if I look at the photos and there's one photo or two photos and both of them are of the stock photo. Move on. Don't waste your time. All right, so next up is going to be blurry photos that are needed for authentication. So what I mean there is, in order to authenticate items through a picture, you need close-ups of the logos that are engraved on the hardware, the stamps, date stamps, serial numbers, close-ups of maybe the zipper pulls, things like that. And you see a beautiful photo everywhere else, great details, but then all of a sudden you don't see any close-ups, or when you see the close-ups, they're blurry. So they gave you a close-up, but that's when they didn't take a good picture. That's a little questionable. You could definitely ask the person for better photos. And if they give you those better photos, that is great, because sometimes those key photos that you need, they're in hard to see spots, and it just, you can't get into the photo or do a better job with it than whatever's on the screen. But I would definitely ask for more photos. But in the case, I would say that is a red flag, but definitely ask if you know the photos are a little bit blurry and if they could take a better photo for you. If they don't, move on. All right, next up is going to be, we got two more. So second to last is going to be stating the item was a gift. This is used all the time. And I'm not saying that people don't sell things that aren't gifts, but a lot of times you see shady listings. When people use this, they are talking about that's the reason they don't have any information. Meaning they don't have an authenticity card, or they don't have any of the key pieces that usually come with the item. I don't even know how to explain it, because you can sell an item and not have a dust bag and it be authentic. I don't know how you lose your dust bag. I've never lost a dust bag because I'm just very anal about that kind of stuff, but I absolutely see how some people, they misplace it and it's a completely authentic item. But I feel like when people use that in the listing and use it in a way to make an excuse, and I'm sorry I don't have a better example. I wish I could throw up one, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But when people use it as an excuse for the reason why something is the way that it is, and they use it was a gift, they no longer want it. Like maybe, I got a good example where somebody would say, this bag that costs $3,000 is brand new with tags, and I'm selling it. It's brand new with tags or brand new without tags at that point, either way. And I'm selling it because my boyfriend bought it for me and we broke up. Now, I understand you may be very upset. And you may not want anything that does not look like anything related to that person. But in most people, let me say that before I just say something mean. Most people, if you love your handbag, you're going to keep that handbag. Now, you may be upset with whatever that person did and may not want anything related to that person at all. But when you're selling that item dirt cheap, when you really could be selling it for a lot more, simply for the fact that you want to get rid of a gift that somebody gave you that you don't like anymore, sounds questionable to me. Let me know if that sounds questionable to you, but it sounds questionable to me. Anytime, I don't even need to know that it was a gift. So why is that in there? Anyway, like I mentioned, anytime someone's using it was a gift as an excuse for something, move on. All right, and last up is going to be...
Sorry, so this will be over when multiple sellers have the same exact photos.
Also, look at other photos. So what I've seen recently where I was looking, it was Gucci Marmont actually, and 4 or 5 sellers had the same exact photos. So when you see the same exact photo, I'm selling one, Susie down the street is selling a Gucci Marmont, and they have the same photos. I mean, same backdrop, everything. And then 3 other people, Judy and Jane, have the same photos, and we're all doing different listings. That is a complete red flag that it is not real. How do all of us that don't know each other have the same photos of the same bag? Doesn't make sense. But those are also red flags as well. So let me know if there's any red flags that you're wondering about. I would love to answer your questions down below and help you out a little bit more. And if you have any other red flags that you feel like are warranted, definitely throw those down. I would love to have a conversation with you about them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll come back for another one. Definitely I will, in the description details, link you to my playlist so that way you can see some more videos and check me out a little bit further if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye. I will talk to you again soon.